Marshall.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I hope America is listening today. And to our witnesses, let me say welcome, and I regret that none of you were able to get into the Kansas State University biochemistry program, but I certainly appreciate your credentials that are all here today. I think it's important to not only identify the true problem, but also talk about where we've been. And you all can help us fill into some of the pieces here when we talk about gain-of-function research. It was late in 2011 when the NSABB, which is the NIH's advisory board, stopped two scientists from publishing an influenza gain-of-function study that I believe Dr. Ebright was referring to. And they stopped it because they were afraid it could educate bioterrorists. So this is 2011. Over a decade ago, scientists had figured out how to make H5N1, which is highly pathogenic avian influenza, more contagious. In 2012, those two scientists and 39 others implemented a voluntary gain-of-function research pause on influenza experiments. In early 2012, Dr. Fauci encouraged all influenza scientists to pause gain-of-function and said, and I'm quoting Dr. Fauci, 2012, "It's essential we respect the concern of the public domestically or globally and not ask them to take the word of the influenza scientists." It's interesting to me that Dr. Fauci was focused on the messaging, but he still wanted to continue the gain-of-function research. Again in 2012, Dr. Fauci also said, almost prophetically, that he worried about unregulated laboratories, perhaps outside of the United States, doing work sloppily and leading to an inadvertent pandemic. And he went on to say the accidental release is what the world is really worried about. I go forward to 2014 now. After biosecurity accidents in the United States research labs, which our witnesses have talked about, the Obama White House implemented the second gain-of-function moratorium on influenza plus MERS and SARS because of the potential risk of lab accidents and inherent gain-of-function danger. But gain-of-function still continued at the University of North Carolina. Research later that we shared with Dr. Shi, the bat lady. Nevertheless, clearly the U.S. government and Dr. Fauci knew that the viral gain-of-function research was very concerning. And almost counterintuitively, while Dr. Fauci encouraged United States scientists to pause their GOF studies, Dr. Fauci offshored the pause research to China, not once, but twice. In 2012, Dr. Fauci gave a new grant to Peter Daszak's EcoHealth Alliance for influenza research in China. And then again in 2014, Dr. Fauci gave another grant to Daszak for SARS research in China. Daszak partnered with who? The Wuhan Institute of Virology. In late 2017, NIH announced a lift on the gain-of-function moratorium, what became known as the P3CO framework, which we referred to, apparently without consultation from a Senate-confirmed State Department head or national security leadership. Also significant, there was no OSTP director in place and only an acting HHS secretary at the helm. So what was the result of this? NIH essentially lifts the moratorium on their own by slipping it in between administrations and self-policing. And today, we can't see the research record for Dr. Fauci's offshore projects because the Chinese Communist Party supposedly has EcoHealth records and NIH resists sharing theirs. So I'll get to my question now. Dr. Ebright, could EcoHealth's research in China have led to the COVID-19 pandemic and Dr. Fauci's worst fears that a lab accident in a foreign lab became reality?
Yes. Lapses in U.S. oversight of gain-of-function research of concern may have caused the current pandemic and could cause future pandemics. The U.S. government funded high-risk gain-of-function research and high-risk enhanced potential pandemic pathogens research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology in 2016 to 2019. The research overlapped the pause that was in effect in 2014 to 2017 and met the criteria to be paused, but was not paused. The research also overlapped the subsequent policy, the P3CO framework that has been in effect from 2018 to the present, and met the criteria for federal risk-benefit review under the P3CO framework, but did not undergo federal risk-benefit review under the P3CO framework.
Thank you so much. I have to stop and point out, too, that USAID, who is knee-deep in this type of research, is part of the State Department where they can get the security advice that they should have asked for before they cleared this with P3CO. Certainly, I believe that this virus came from Wuhan, China, and that it is a product of gain-of-function research. This is a bipartisan national security issue, like several of our witnesses have testified, that this viral gain-of-function could become, and has become, a weapon of mass destruction, that this model, this is a 3D model, what the COVID virus looks like, and this is the gain-of-function. This is the protein spike, the 2 units that allows this key to fit into the door perfectly, and the cleavage site and all that. This became a nuclear hand grenade is what happened. Dr. Quay, then Dr. Esfeld, considering the extreme risk of this research and the incredulous obstruction by the NIH, USAID, EcoHealth, and China, should Congress immediately pause this dangerous research?
I think that's an appropriate step for Congress to take.
Okay. Dr. Esfeld?
I think it would be somewhat dangerous to attempt to pause gain-of-function research when it's evident that that term is so malleable as to be evaded at will, and also could plausibly do damage by applying to science that is not specifically directed at potential pandemic pathogens.
Are there any countries that you would say we shouldn't be doing this type of research with?
When it comes to identifying pandemic-capable viruses that could kill millions of people and will necessarily be shared with scientists worldwide who will be able to access them, I do not think that we should be doing it. I do not think that China should be doing it. I do not think that anyone should be doing it, because it is expected to kill 100 times as many people as it might save, even if we could perfectly prevent an identified natural virus from spilling over.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have some more questions.